This is how I make a stage riser for musicians who typically perform on the floor but want to be elevated, and it's yeah, really easy, portable way of doing that, because quite often venues, especially DIY or fringe venues, don't have stage risers to hand. It packs down really small in your car, it's really lightweight, and it's much more affordable than if you just buy a set online from various music stores. I've only tested this for sitting, and I've used this for several years, so in personal use, personal professional use, I guess I could say, it's safe for sitting in my experience. There's not been an accident yet. I would say maybe don't use this method if you stand when performing on a riser, or jump up, and definitely not for jumping up and down. I don't think that this method works for that. I think for that you probably definitely need the sort of kit as it's sold, because I think that's what it's been sort of tested and designed for. This is for musicians like Hindustani music performers and Carnatic music performers who play sat on the floor and want that bit of elevation. Yeah, what you do is you order a riser like this from Gear for Music. This one is a 40cm riser. When it's expanded outwards, you can see it expands like this. I haven't got space to do it the whole way. And then you also want to order a roll of 5 meters of heavy duty hook and loop. I've got 2 different brands here. One's just called Monster Grip hook and loop, and then I've got some leftover Velcro as well from doing this previous time. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to, with the hook side, I don't know if you can see that this is the hook side, it's the non-fluffy side, the scratchy side. You are going to cut a square to the size of these little black squares, and the way I do that is with a, I don't know where I've put it now, oh yeah, here we are. I'll cut a soft loop square exactly to size, and then I will attach it to the hook side Velcro like that, and then I'll cut around it, meaning that I'm able to cut the exact size needed, as in Blue Peter or Pete Yelding fashion. Here's one I made earlier, and then you can attach it to each of these. So you peel off the back, which is a little more tricky if you've recently trimmed your fingernails. So yeah, peel off the back so you can see that really sticky side. You then stick it onto the square, and it's, if possible, try and make it so the square that you've cut is slightly smaller than the black squares themselves, because when they overlap they can stick together, and they also prevent it from sort of being fully to size. So I've got, you probably can't see because it's too dark, but I've got 3 done already here, 1, 2 and 3, so I need to do the rest of them. Once that's done, I'll show you how to do the board. So we've got now the completed DIY riser, or not DIY, it's ordered and modified. So you can see I've stuck on the little hook and loop squares, the hook side on each of these, and they're strong enough to hold a board in place, and it's got the corresponding loop on for sitting. I have to emphasize that, for sitting. The boards that actually come with these, that are sort of the expensive sturdy things, you can you hook them around the edges here, and obviously we're not doing that. We're just sort of placing and velcroing on top, which, as I said, is fine for sitting. So this is 1 meter square when it's opened out, and so for ultra portability I order a big sheet of plywood. It's always cheaper to order a big sheet of plywood and then cut slices to size within that sheet, rather than getting lots of pre-cut smaller sheets. There's quite a premium on that, so you end up spending more money unnecessarily. So I get a big sheet and then cut strips of 50 centimeter by 1 meter boards, and that's because, yeah, it's 1 meter square. And what I do is I get two 50 centimeter by 1 meter boards, and I place them together onto the riser. So I'm going to show you how I do the Velcroing. So you can see I lay it down here, and then with the loop side of your industrial hook and loop, and make sure it's industrial quality. It's got to be really, really strong and thick to make sure it's safe and does the job properly. So with the loop side, roll it out so it's longer on both ends than the meter that you've had cut to size. And the reason for that is really important. If you were to cut it so it's so you've got like ends on the edge, or on the face that you're attaching to the Velcro here, over time that will peel away because the glue will get less, and it'll just be frustrating because you have to get more Velcro, so it becomes costly and not as long lasting. I'm redoing these boards, having first done them back in 2019, so they've lasted me, the last batch that I did have lasted me 7 years, so that's pretty good going. Yeah, so make sure that the strip of loop is overlapping. Oh, you can't see it, sorry. I'll move that so you can see the end. You can see the end now. It's overlapping, and then peel off a little bit, but only a little bit. Don't take off the full back, because then you're going to have problems. Things will start sticking to each other, and yeah, you don't want that. So place it down, lining it up with the edge. Pull it round, that little overlap round, and then that is how you get your sort of secure holding, because it's then it means that sort of like the sort of strain from putting it on and off is distributed across the whole strip. And if you had a two offcuts meeting on this side, then you would lose that strength. So don't do that. Now with this little bit that's sticking out, stick the exposed back to the face of the wood, and then pull taut at the other end, so it's straight all the way along the strip of loop, and then you just very gradually you pull a bit and then you smooth it down, pull a bit and then smooth it down. I'm going to do that all the way across. You can probably only hear me doing it now rather than seeing, but you get the idea. You just pull a bit, smooth it down, keeping it pulled straight all the time at the other end. And I've even still managed to just veer off very slightly from the edge, so it's okay if it's a bit approximate. You know, obviously try to make it as neat as you can. And then that final edge, you can see how it looks now. Just put that round like that, and then what you've got is a finished half staging board. So I'll show you now, if I've got space, how that works in practice. I should have just about enough space. So we open this out to 1 meter squared. You're being knocked slightly. There you go. 1 metre square. You can see that's open there. You've got all these sort of various points of support. So the squares of support are 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres. And then when you're setting up at your gig, step in, and then from the middle, find the halfway point on the squares. So you see, you're going on to there, and then you push down. That is now fixed onto the Velcro. And then because you've got this last little bit of overlap, because you've put it on in the middle, cutting across the middle, and you stacked it from the middle rather than the edge, you then just have to take your second board and do the same. So I'm just going to place that down, pushing it right up. Might just need a little persuasion. Lining it up. And there you've got your stage riser. So that riser now it's just been done, so it sounds a little bit fresh. I would normally let these sit for a bit, but that is now on. And then what you can do is get your carpets. I would put a thicker carpet on as well, but just to demonstrate, I'll maybe do a carpet folded in half so you can sort of see, you know, so your carpet then does the rest of the work. So then if I was to sit on this, look, that is completely secure to sit on. I'm bouncing up and down. I feel safe. That is a stage riser. Really affordable, or much more affordable than doing it properly, and ideal for those of us that perform on the floor and want to be just that little bit more elevated. Hope that was useful, and yeah, let me know if you do it yourself. Cheers.